This is Karita Parts with Bowie Television at the Under Armour Performance Center. The Baltimore Ravens are 6-2, and they will face the 5-2 Seattle Seahawks on Sunday at home at M&T Bank Stadium. And the guys will be in Baltimore for the next few weeks. They've had a pretty grueling travel schedule that included London and then that West Coast trip to the Arizona Cardinals. Offensively, when it was brought up to Lamar Jackson that he is 17-1 against NFC teams, he did not want to hear that. He put his hands over his ears. He said it's about winning football games. He doesn't care about the conferences or the stats as far as that is concerned. Additionally, Rashad Bateman, there's been talk about getting him more involved. You can see that he's becoming more comfortable week after week after recovering from his foot injury. So in talking to him, he said that he hasn't lost confidence in himself and that he's just taking advantage of the opportunities that he gets. Odell Beckham Jr., he was visibly upset last week, mostly because he just doesn't feel like he's where he wants to be as of yet. When I asked him what that means to him, he said he really can't explain it, but he has high expectations for himself, which is something that we all know of Odell Beckham Jr. Todd Monken's offense, it continues to come together, so we will see more of those guys get involved week by week. And hopefully towards the end of the season, and if the Ravens go to the playoffs, they'll have it all figured out. The defense continues to just know that they have to make plays on behalf of their offense. So we will see how this all pans out on Sunday. Be sure to follow Bowie Television for all of your Ravens content.
First, I just want to give a shout out to Shiz Ryan, man. Just want to send some love, man. Happy birthday, Shiz.
8 weeks into the season, how would you just describe your season so far to this point?
Obviously, not where I want to be, but when I signed here, I said I want to come here, win the Super Bowl, and win. And we're 6-2, and on the way to that. So just got to keep going. Long season.
When you say you're not where you want to be, what does that mean for you? Like,
I don't know how to explain it. Just I got high expectations, high standards, but ultimately it's a team game, and receivers, as much as a bad rap as receivers get, they're actually the most selfless people on the field. You got to wait for the offensive line to block, you got to wait for a pass play to be called, you got to wait for blitzes to be picked up, you got to wait for a good ball to be thrown, all for just one opportunity in the game. So. I think a lot of receivers get a bad rap for wanting the ball, but 60 plays out of a game and you're running around all 60. It's not the easiest of positions. So.
Odell, it looked like you were a little frustrated after that second PI. Is that just a product of what you were just talking about, or?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're 6-2. We keep it pushing, keep it rolling. I didn't come here with the expectations that I'd be going for 2,000 yards. We're trying to win the Super Bowl, so it is what it is at this point. Just walking that fine line of being grateful to be back on the field, but definitely not being content with where I'm at or how I feel internally about what's going on. So just got to keep pushing.
How do you assess
You
it?
saw a number of those PIs this year, including on Sunday. I mean, obviously, do you take pride in those?
Not really. I wish the numbers went to the stats, but they don't. So, I mean, it's good for us. We keep it moving, keep the chains going, get a new set of downs, and then go from there.
Why do you think you're getting held so much, and what do you do about it?
Nothing, man. Just get over and catch the ball. That's all I can do. And just do a better job at that.
Do you feel like you're getting close, though, to kind of having that breakout?
Yeah. It was very hard early in the season with, what I had going on, just kind of unexpectedly. And it just was very hard to have that initial burst. And this is a National Football League. Everybody's good, everybody's skilled, there's a reason they're here. And when you go out there and you don't feel like you're, 100, it's very hard, with the things that are going on, just to be who I know I am. So it feels good to just be able to consistently, over time, it gets better and better and better. And again, it's a long season. It's 9 games left. God willing, 10 at least. So you just got to prepare for that.
How do you feel health-wise at the point of the season? How do you feel like your body is held up?
Like I said, early in the season it was tough with what I had going on. You just kind of got to push through and find ways for us to all work together. And you need a day here, you need a day there, then that's what it is. We're here to play on Sundays. You just got to do your best to be prepared for that. So definitely feeling better. Definitely, I think people tend to forget. A new coordinator comes in, a new offense, new players. Everything is all new. Teams usually around this time of the year start to really know exactly who they are. They find their groove. They find the plays that work for them. They find out what they're going to use going forward into the big games. What is it that it's kind of like trial and error early on in the season, and it's been a great trial and error for us. And I still think that there's only been a few games where we really put it all together. Other than that, it's just been finding ways to win, being a resilient team, next man stepping up, and it's just a big testament to this team that we have.
Do you think, Odell, it's difficult considering, you had the year away, you came, you had a great training camp, everything was looking really great, and then for it to not, get the initial results right away, that's been another hurdle that's been tough?
If you want me to answer honestly, of course. You want to come here and jump off the bat, you feel like you've worked hard, you set out a long time, but again, I don't think many of us are sitting where we're at in our lives and expected to be exactly where we're at and things to go exactly how they went. And it's a matter of understanding life is life, and it's going to continue to do that. It doesn't stop. It's going to keep rolling. It's like surfing, some waves you crash, some waves you ride all the way in. You just got to get back up on the board, continue to do that, stay resilient, and that's really that. Other than that, you can only control your emotions, energy. You can't control what God has planned for you. He's bigger than all of us. So just got to stay in the light. 6-2, at the top of the league. And this is a team in here that's, like I said earlier, I feel like we haven't put it all together and lost 2 games that we feel like we shouldn't have lost, and it would be 8-0. And I still don't know if everyone in here would be content with what we have going on. So that's a great characteristic of this team that we have. Nobody's content or happy with where we're at. We're always searching for more, and that's a big quality to have.
Odell, just in terms of the process of communication and chemistry with Lamar, where do you feel like you're at with that? Is that still one of those work in progress things, or is it, where do you kind of feel like you're at, I guess, from that standpoint?
Again, it's just I can count on 2 hands how many people in this locker room need to get the ball. One of them needs to get to his locker right now. There's a lot of guys. There's only one football. There's 7-8 guys that are looking to get it, and we're all hungry and we're all happy for each other when the next man gets it. So it's just all the processes. Again, like I said, you're trying to figure out exactly what stuff's gonna work for you going forward. Like I said, I didn't sign here thinking that I was gonna be eclipsing 2,000 yards and having 1,000 yards in week 8. I think there's only 1 or 2 other receivers who do. So it's just about finding ways to win at this point, honestly. trying to get rings on your finger. That's a lot of fun. I can tell you that much. So that's the goal.
All right, thank you, Odell.
Thanks, man.
To practice. So we come out to practice every day, work hard, and try to execute everything to the best of our ability. But sometimes, you go out there and it's a little off, but we still focus on executing everything and putting up points.
Well, how satisfying is it that you could have, like you said, a little bit of a setback, you hang 31, right? That's kind of a pretty good team at that point.
Yeah, it's just, we want to be better than what we was putting up 31. It was some spots here and there where we messed up, but we just finished in the red zone. As long as we finish in the red zone, I feel like you got a chance.
Still have yet to see a 100-yard receiver this year for anybody.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to change that?
We got a lot of weapons, so it's hard to get 100 yards between anybody. Me, Bateman, Odell, Nelson, and Mark. And we use the running backs too, so it's just going to be hard to just have somebody go for 100 when we all can just go 60, 70 apiece and still put up the points we need.
So Lamar's got to throw for 500, is that what you said to get it?
Yeah, he will. He will.
So you're about halfway through your rookie season. Just what have your impressions of the NFL been like, at the midway point?
It's fun. I like playing here, but everybody's smarter. Everybody do their job the best of their ability, and you just got to go out and execute more than the guy across from you. So that's what I've been trying to focus on, get my little routine together, and keep playing.
As you have a few games at home now after being on the road 4 out of the last 5, can you describe that excitement?
I'm ready to just stay home. I've been traveling to different time zones, 3 hours back and 5 hours ahead, so it's just good to be playing at home in front of our fans.
Exactly.
Yeah, no problem.
Our guys, man, it's been a really good 2 days of work outside. We're doing a good job, just really trying to execute so we can go out and really just continue to put together some good football. We're doing a lot of good things. Every now and then, there's might be a little hiccup here or there, but for the most part, man, I'm really encouraged by what our guys are doing on Sundays. Questions?
Chris, can you go through the first onside kick and kind of what you guys were thinking was going to happen and how it wasn't executed probably what you wanted?
Yeah, just from that standpoint, we got the guys out there. If you noticed before, we took the time out, so we have a pretty good idea of probably what's about to happen, and then from there, it's just like anything else. You got to go out and you got to execute the play. You saw there was no different kick from the first one to the second one. We just our end that's in that position. You just got to go and attack the football. Other than that, there's nothing else behind that play.
On Tucker's upright kick, which it feels like anytime indoors 50 yards, it feels like a chip shot on it. But to see play, it had a little draw on it, a little right to left, which is atypical for him, straight or a little fade. Is that plant field or just every once in a while it's going to happen?
I think it's one of those things when you look at the play, and I think Tuck could probably answer this better than I can. But for him to miss a ball to his left, maybe a little bit too tight to the ball, something like that. But other than that, the kicking part of the game, it's such a technical thing that if you plant one way or the other, or you maybe overswing, those things will happen. So that's why the details of kicking, are very important. That's why they try to be as consistent as they can through each kick.
What do you feel like is the biggest adjustment for Jordan Stout and probably the best game in his career? What do you attribute just his commitment to lately and the form he's shown?
Jeff, that's a good question. I think what it comes down to is Jordan's one of those guys. When we watched him, we understood what kind of talent he had coming into the draft and coming out of college. And I think it was just one of those things where he's spending all this time with Randy and with Sam, and just being able to be that punter that he was in college. And I think what you guys are seeing is you're seeing the player that we saw. He's gaining a lot of confidence, right? And last week, man, he had a really good game. 10 and 4 punts inside the 10, which really flipped the field. Had the offense backed up for us. Those things are huge, and I think just for him, it's a lot of confidence. He's starting to feel it, and then it's just understanding that every rep is going to be different, and because every rep is going to be different, you have to approach them that way, right? Each kick is not going to be the same, so if you execute, go through your fundamentals, you'll get the results you want, and I think that's what he's doing.
He's doing a great job. He's doing a great job with him. And like you said, Pierce just had a really, really great, just dominated the game. And but Trav's right there, right behind him. And he's on his way.
Like not many players go from running back to cornerback like Brandon Stevens has over his career. You know, just how high a level is he playing at right now, and what do you think he's done that's enabled him to make that transition?
Yeah, I'm really excited for B. Steve. I mean, he's put in a lot of work, and he's been moved around a lot, and it's great to find him a home of where he can feel like he can dedicate, you know, his craft and his skills. He's got an awesome skill set. We've always known that about him, but it's not easy moving around, especially, I mean, just going from the beginning of his football career, you know, and then all of a sudden you're, you know, in the NFL and you're asked to play defensive back, and there's a lot of stuff going on back there, and he's handled it and tremendously. So definitely shout out to him, shout out to the coaches for getting him ready to roll, but put in a ton of work, does it every day. I mean, it seems like everyone you ask me about every week, the common denominator is their daily approach, and he's right there with the rest of those guys. So you know, excited for him. Obviously, you know, we're halfway through the year, so there's a lot of work to be done, but he's on his way for sure.
In your opinion, is cornerback his forever home at this point? Is he kind of proven that?
I mean, it's hard for, you know me, it's hard for me to, you know, go jump in head first on that one, but there's probably a pretty good chance he's going to stay there.
Like, do you like players that have that? You mentioned the challenges of it, but then you kind of think about global understanding of the game. Do you think that helps players in a big picture sense? When they have moved around that much at every
absolutely.
level?
Yeah, I mean, you think about guys that used to play quarterback and how they see the field and things like that. Absolutely, I'm sure understanding, you know, distributions and stems and things like that from a safety perspective. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he'd tell you that would be helpful.
Mike, I think when Wink was here, you know, he would talk about how, in a lot of ways, basketball kind of informed the way he thought about interchangeability on defense. I mean, did any of that kind of rub off on you in terms of like wanting guys to be able to kind of guard 1 through 5 in basketball parlance?
I don't remember him saying anything about basketball.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I understand the spirit of the question.
Yeah.
I'm messing with you, but yeah, I think, you know, we talk about interchangeable parts a lot. I think those are things that go great when you're in the off season and you can start moving things around. Obviously, as you get into the season, you know, I think having consistency and you know, from a week-to-week basis, so guys are used to playing next to one another is important. So you don't want to move it too much, but having the ability to do that, especially when guys go down or different matchups and things like that, absolutely. I think that's really important, and you know, to how, you know, Eric and Harves have built the roster to, you know, to generate those different types of skill sets definitely gives us flexibility on a week-to-week basis.
Like, I think with Marcus returning to the practice field, a question that everybody's asking this week is, you have the interceptions leader in Geno Stone, you have Marcus returning. Does your use of 3 safeties last year and even this year, does that make it a lot easier to say, hey, we got a lot of good players here that we can get, you know, snaps from?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great problem to have, to find, you know, where to put great players. So I think we mentioned it last week, you know, you'll start to see some guys moving around probably. And, you know, again, alluding to the matchups and things like that, you know, those are definitely things we're considering for sure.
Mike, how much does Madubuike's emergence as a pass rusher just make it more stressful for the offense, for the offensive line to worry about what you guys do before the snap? Because now there's someone to worry about inside, outside, slot, wherever.
It's great. I mean, it's awesome. He's, you know, when the closer, I think Gaddafi said it last year, it just happens faster. You know, you can get, you know, affect the quarterback quicker in there. So definitely there's a time element for sure. And you know, it's a team. If the guys outside of where Beeks aligns can't do the things that they're doing, it doesn't allow him to have those opportunities, and vice versa. If Justin's not playing at the level he is, then that doesn't free up the single blocks, you know, on how we scheme up the rest of the stuff. So it all works hand to hand, but having an asset like that and a guy playing at that level is, especially inside where it gets to the quarterback quicker, definitely is a big difference maker for us.
You guys have traditionally rotated a lot on the interior. Odell Beckham, you know, you've had him in Cleveland, you had him here. How close do you feel like, since he's obviously not hitting the expectations he wants, how close do you think you guys are to trying to, you know, get everything in sync with him we want?
It's always going to be a work in progress. Just because he's been in and out of practice and out of the lineup, you know, you have a limited off season together, so you're constantly trying to work that chemistry. So it doesn't matter who it is. It's, you know, Bates been out for a little bit, then working back. So he's a rookie, so, you know, the player that's got the most banked reps together that's continued practice, you can see, because that's Mark. you can see that consistently.
You guys are passing more on first down. You guys are spreading it out a bit more compared to what the offense was in the past. How do you think that's allowed Lamar to showcase elements of his game that maybe he didn't get to show in past years?
Well, it's more fun when it works. I can tell you that. Other than being 2nd and 10, you know, I don't know that. I don't know in the past what they did per se. I mean, outside of just looking at it, you know, Lamar has been diligent and working in terms of, you know, his drop, where his eyes are, you know, in terms of the pass game, and it shows. You know, it's credit to him and T and Kerry, the guys that work with him, and our guys. And it's still got to be more consistent. There's moments where you really like what we're doing, and there's moments we certainly need to be better.
Todd, when you have a gifted young player like Bateman, as a coordinator, what can you do to help him get from a great play every once in a while to sort of full-on breakout?
I think with him, it's more being healthy. You know, I think that's the biggest thing. Any player, the development, but I shouldn't say it's a player. It's all of us improve with the amount of time we're able to spend on our craft. It's just the way it is. It doesn't matter. The more he's able to get out there and practice and get into games, he's able to sustain that. He's only going to continue to get better. It's no different than a coach. You know, any job that you've got, it's just consistently staying healthy. And when he does, you can see that. You can see that on the field.
Do you ever game plan to specifically get a guy more opportunities, or is that not really the way you look at it?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes you have on your call sheet like where you think there's opportunities for a player, but sometimes the defense takes that away. You know, other than a screen, you know, other than when you know the ball is going to a specific player, a number of times coverage can dictate that. You know, and then you've got to go somewhere else with the football, and then, you know, being able to move players around can help that when you're expecting certain coverages. So that's why it's certainly more advantageous the more weapons that you have, because when the ball finds them, you have more playmakers. That's just the way it is. It's harder to take certain guys away, or at least scheme up where they might be. So you're constantly trying to move guys around when that's possible. It's not always possible because you got to practice. You got to be able to rep things to be able to carry it over to games.
In the past year, they've more embraced the running back by committee approach. Are you partial to that approach as well, or do you like the idea of kind of one guy getting 20+ carries or so?
Well, sometimes I don't even know. I mean, I'll be real honest. Like you're subbing guys in and out. You have certain packages that you like guys in the game, like most teams. Certainly, I think with the way the game has gone, I don't think any team, I should not say that. I don't know that specifically. But I think if you look across the league over the last few years, it's been more with a lot of teams running back by committee because it's a position of extreme contact, you know, in terms of the volatility of the position. So I think it's in your best interest to consistently develop and have a number of running backs that can touch the ball and take the load off of just one player specifically.
Have you seen, because Lamar's kind of, you know, he has a unique style of play. When you play teams, maybe it's like not outside, maybe outside the division, that there is some of an adjustment period for those opposing defenses because they're not used to kind of, you know, a quarterback kind of like him at all.
Some, but you know, I think over the years they're not Lamar, but there's quarterbacks that skill set wise that, you know, might resemble that. Like you play the Giants and you're playing Daniel Jones. There's going to be some aspect of his game that they would have to prepare for with his ability with his legs. I think any quarterback, when you go against that, it's still how they're going to play Lamar, and the type of plays that you may run can vary. And then he's played for a number of years. You can go back and see how they thought they would play, or, you know, try to scheme up against style of play that you're at. We're a little bit different than they've been in the past, so, you know, you try to dissect a little bit early on what you're getting.
Todd, I think Lamar saw more drop 8 on Sunday than he probably had in any game this year. I mean, are you grateful for that, the opportunities and maybe some of the ups and downs with that experience, came in a win, not in a loss? I mean, what do you kind of take away from it?
Sure, no, it's no, you certainly, what saved us on Sunday was we were outstanding in the red zone. I mean, that's what saved us, is that when we got down there, we scored touchdowns. I mean, so we had other opportunities. We didn't take advantage of them. But when we did get down there, I mean, that certainly saved us. And certainly we saw a little bit more drop 8 than when what we have seen when we went 5-man pro. That's when it came up. We released the back, or we went 5-man protection. So it came up, a couple handfuls of times of when we were throwing it. So again, I think any time that you're able to see something and still come out of it with a win, still have some things that you felt like you did well, and a lot of things that you certainly could continue to build on.
The consistency and execution, you look at you want to build kind of each week on something, but it felt like a little bit execution-wise, a little step back. Is that part of last week? Is that relative to 4 out of 5 on the road, just that particular scheme, or what do you attribute that?
Most of the time it's there's a combination of that. I don't know 4 out of 5 on the road and the travel and all of that. Did that have anything to do with certain aspects of us not getting lined up, not functioning at a high level at times? No, but heck no. I mean, we went to London and we stayed over there a week. I mean, to me, that's not the issue. The issue is the consistency. It's the reverse of that. Is did you expect against the Lions that everything would go so well at the beginning? Well, of course not. And you're playing against the best players in the world and the best coaches in the world, and they've played better at home. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys are a good team, and they beat them at home. So it's those things that are a part of it. Certain opportunities that you had that you didn't take advantage of, that you certainly could have coached better, certainly could have played better. But luckily, like I said, when we did get down in the red zone, we did score touchdowns, which, again, when you do that, I wouldn't say it was, there was some similarities to that game and the Cincinnati game in some ways, where the opportunities that we did get, we scored touchdowns. That gives you a chance then. You're in the 20s, you're at 28, you're close to 30, you're at least going to don't score touchdowns, it doesn't nearly feel as well. So that's the biggest part of it, is when you are a little bit choppy and you're not taking advantage of some opportunities that you had, then you better score touchdowns.
I think there was a lot of excitement over what this offense would look like, this rushing offense would look like when you guys spread teams out. I think, in 11 personnel, you guys are much more pass inclined than run inclined. I know some of that's probably situational, but I guess what kind of has gone into the decision-making process about, that split?
Personnel does that. Some of it is, who you have in the game, whether it's utilizing Pat Ricard, utilizing your tight ends, the run game that you can have when you're in, spread out personnel, how much you want to run Lamar. And that becomes part of that as you continue to build and try to scheme other defenses. Certain teams give you different fronts that might not be, as much of an advantage to be in the spread set. So we certainly are trying to be, as best as we can, be as balanced as we can per personnel set, but it doesn't always work out that way. But that's a good point. I mean, in terms of being spread and being able to still be able to run it, for sure.
In your experience, is being a first-year play caller, is that different from maybe if you're out of place for a third or fourth year, or maybe adding layers to the offense rather than figuring out what you're good at and building on that?
Oh, I think for sure. And I wouldn't even say play caller as much as our first year together. You don't want that to be an excuse, because there are none, right? We're already into playing 8 games, and I do think we're starting to play better. There's a lot of things we can improve on, but over the last few weeks we've moved the ball more consistently. I like where we're headed. Again, we're not there yet. We need to get there. That's part of what you do. But as a new staff, players, system, you're always, even 2 or 3 years from now, we'll be still, right, striving to be elite in everything we do, right? How we meet, how we teach, the notes we take, how we practice, how we take care of our bodies, right? How we carry that over to the field, how we get lined up, right? How we executed high level. All those things are a big part of that. That falls under that umbrella, and no one really gives a shit, to be honest. I mean, they really don't, and we shouldn't. We don't care. And ultimately, it's what you show on Sunday that matters. That's what we're paid to do, and that's what we're always striving to do, is to have a high level of execution, and it starts with how we game plan it, how we prepare during the week, and then execute against the best in the world, because they're paid to do everything to stop us. That's one thing that I think we forget at times, is that they've got good players and coaches too, and then how are we going to do it better to execute at a high level, especially at the most critical situations of the game.
Todd, overall, through 8 games, are you pretty pleased with how you guys have run the ball overall? And sometimes the running game late in the season takes on more meaning. Do you feel there's another level to get to, or just one?
I was pleased. I have been relatively pleased in terms of how we've run the football. Certain times we could be better. We certainly, Sunday, felt better. We ran the ball better in the second half, called it better in the second half. We had a few more RPOs early in the game that got thrown when we had opportunities to run it. And that really, the drive that got it to 24 and the drive that got it to 31 really, if you said, throughout the game, outside of the first time we scored, made you feel good about it. We wanted to end the game on our terms, and we didn't end it then, but it's the last time we got on the field and we're able to run the football. And I like the way we scheme it. I like our guys. I think we are certainly capable of that. And we need to continue that. I mean, you can't control the game if you can't run the football. I mean, you just can't control the game. Your play action game's not at speed, your short yardage, your goal line. We've been good in the red zone because we've been able to run it.